Hi, I'm Assistant Professor Aditi Mathur, International Schools of Business Management, Suresh Kanvia University, Jaipur. And in today's video lecture, we'll be continuing with our capital budgeting and understand two of the methods to evaluate the projects. So one will be our NPV, that is your net present value, and the another one is BCR, that is benefit cost ratio. These both methods are somewhere down the line related to each other. The only difference in the formula and the understanding of the concept. So we'll understand the advantages, disadvantages, how to evaluate the projects. We will solve few numericals to understand the two methods of calculating the projects. So let us just start with understanding first the NPV method, that is your net present value method. So NPV method, this is also known as excess present value or net gain method. So you should always know the alternative names of every method. So your NPV or the net present is known as net gain method or excess present value method as well. So to implement this approach, we simply find the present value of expected net cash inflows of an investment discounted at the cost of capital and subtract from the initial cost outlay of the project. If the NPV is positive, we the project should be accepted, and if it is negative, we reject the project. So our formula is NPV is equals to total present value of cash inflows minus net investment or total present value of initial investment. So what this method says is that you are going to invest it today, that is at zeroth year, and you will be getting returns in future, right? So one, two, three, four, five, six. Those returns are your inflows. So what this method is saying, simply taking the consideration of time value and saying that just pull back all that earning to the present level today, right? Calculate all the future earnings in today's value and then compare it with the cost you are investing or the initial outlay of the money, the cost outlay, the initial amount you're going to spend, because they both will be now comparatively at the same level, because both will be at the present value, and then check whether you are in the positive side or negative side. If your answer is negative, that means that you are spending more, you are investing more in comparison to getting, right, or to receiving the returns. So you should reject those projects. And if your NPV is positive, that means that you are gaining more today, which the value which you have translated or converted to from the futures. That sum, the value of all the cash inflows at present, is more in comparison to the investment which you are going to make. So this project which have positive outcome is favorable, it should be accepted. In comparison to the one which have negative results, it should be rejected, right? So let us just first see the few of the very small calculations. So what I have taken, that I have taken a help of a small example in which the cost of capital after tax is 6%, and the net cash inflows after tax is 5,000. Forecasting is 2,800 per annum for 2 years. The present value of net cash invested at the 6% comes to be this much amount, right? So the future inflows, that is 2,800, is being discounted, and your inflows which are calculated, it is 5,272, and then you compare it or less the investments which you are making, that is 5,000, and your NPV is positive, so that's why you will accept the project. So it is simple. Your NPV formula says present value of cash inflows minus initial investments, right? Because your initial investment is equals to present value of net investment. So they both are same. II or NP, NVI or V, they all are same. So if you say it to be the present value of net investment or present value of cash outlay or the initial investment, one are the same thing. It depends on you or the question, whatever the terminologies they have used, you can use the same thing. But the core concept of your net present value is that you first take or calculate all the present value of the future earnings which you are going to generate with the investments making today, and you will subtract it with the investments which you are making today, and then you will see whether your answer is coming to be positive or negative, and then you will take the call. So the cash inflow in different year are discounted or reduced to their present value by applying the appropriate discount factors or rate at the on the gross or the total present value of cash inflows of different years are ascertained. So for the every year, for the time the project will yield money, or you are calculating or you are estimating the life of that project or that machinery, whatever the case or the situation is, all that earning which you are estimating, right, they all are drawn back, they all are reduced, they all are discounted to the present value with the help of the formulas. You know the formula we have studied in time value of money. So how to calculate the present value if the future values are given to us, we reduce it with the present value index factor. So when you do that, you add them all the year's amount and you get total present value of cash inflows, and that amount is used to compare it or to subtract it with the present value of cash outflow or the cost of the project or the initial investment, whatever the terminology you want to use, and then you see whether the answer is positive or negative. The total present value of cash inflows are compared with the present value of cash outflows, which is actually the cost of the project. And then the present value or the net present value or the excess present value of the project, and the difference between the net present value and the cash inflows and the present value of the cash inflows, the cash outflows are ascertained, and then you see and decide what to do. It depends on the NPV answer which is coming. So this is the how we calculate the present value of, this is the present value factor. This is how we calculate it. So we know the formula that the value of future value is multiplied it with by 1 minus 1 plus r to the power of n. This is the discounting formula. We have learned it in time value of money. So I'm not repeating the method. I'm not repeating the calculation again. So you know it very well. Otherwise, please go back to my videos of the calculation of the time value of money, in which I have easily explained you how to calculate the present value. So we do that, and with the help we do it. So these are the calculation steps which I have shared with you. You can just pause the video and have a look at it once we do the question. So it will be a quick revision. This slide is acting like a revision slide for you once we will do the question. So I request you, once we are done with the question, just go back to the slide and have a pause button, just play pause the video and check, read the slides, read all the steps carefully, and then later on you can be with more clearly, you will understand how to calculate the NPV. So just a quick question or a recap. If the NPV is positive, we accept the project. If it is negative, we reject the project. So now let's just do a numerical. Let me also have my calculator with me, and everyone just have a pen, paper and calculator. Let us just solve the questions, and you will have a better understanding when you do the question and then you analyze it by yourself, that how the process of calculation in this method goes and how we accept and reject it. So in this example, from the following information, calculate the net present value of the two projects and suggest which of the following projects should be accepted, assuming discount rate of 10%. So they have given you the discounted rate for the present value calculation, that is 10%. So we have two projects, X and Y. The initial investments, which is there, it is 20,000 and 30,000. Estimated life is 5 years. Scrap value is 1,000 and 2,000. Further, they have given you the profits before depreciation and after tax. That means your cash inflows, and they are as the table says. In year one, it is 5,000, 20,000. Year two, 10,000, 10,000 each. Year three, 10,000, 5,000. Year four, 3,000, 3,000 each. And year five, 2,000, 2,000 each for both Project X and Y. So now what you're going to do, you will first take the calculation of project X, then you will do the calculation of project Y, and then you will compare the present value of both the projects X and Y, and then you will decide whether to accept X or to accept Y, right? So let us just do one by one. Let us first just first do the calculation of our project X. So we will prepare a table. First of all, just be very carefully sure with the formulas. Your all the calculation is dependent on the formulas and the basic way of doing or using the calculator. Try to avoid the silly mistakes, right? Do practice of lots and lots of numericals so that you can have a good hand on these concepts. So NPV formula is total present value of cash inflows minus total present value of investment or the project. So this is our formula. And now we will calculate the elements one by one. So first of all, we are going to calculate total present value of inflows, cash inflows. So for this, you will prepare a calculation for net present value table. We are doing it for project X. Students, please be very clear with the description of the chart. Please prepare the table the way it is shown in the slides to you. Be very clear with the presentations, right? Use pencil and scale. You should know all the headings of your columns. You should know how to present your answer in the examination. You should know all the headings and labelings. So our naming of this table which we are going to prepare is your calculation of net present value of project X. So first column will show you all the years, then it will be cash inflow, then the present value of rupees 1, that is your discount factor, PVIF discount factor, and then your present value net cash inflows total overall, which you will calculate. So let us just first write all the years 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again 5. Now, why this 5? Because remember in the question we had scrap value. That means at the end of 5th year, because the life of the project X is 5, so at the end of 5th year, you are going to sell this machinery or sell the project, whatever it is, and you will get 1,000 rupees. So it is also inflow, na beta? आपका पैसा तो आ ही रहा है. It is coming inward. आप अपना मशीनरी अगर बेचोगे तो पैसा आएगा. कब आएगा? In 5th year. So this is your scrap value and it will be there in your 5th year. That's why you are going to write this also. The scrap value are considered in your present value inflows. Why? Because in the beginning itself, I have told you it is total present value of all cash inflows. In all cash inflows, your scrap value income is also added. राइट तो आप लोगों की जो वैल्यूज थी एक्स की 5, 10, 10, 3, 2 वो हमने जी यहाँ लिख ली 5, 10, 10, 3, 2 और 1000 हमारी स्क्रैप वैल्यू. अब हम लोगों को हमारा डिस्काउंट रेट एट द रेट 10% इज ऑल्सो गिवन इन द क्वेश्चन. So we all know how to calculate the PVF, that is present value factor at the rate 10%, which is 1 divided by 1 plus R to the power of n. So it is somewhere down the line equals to 1 divided by 1.10 to the power of whatever years we are going to do. So how you're going to do it? Just take the help of the calculators. You can see the calculators. I have my calculator with me. I'm going to teach you how to calculate your present value one. Right? So how you do it? You will just first type 1 divided by 1.10 equal to. So how much it is coming? You all can see, I think it is clear. Yeah. So your value is coming to be 0.909. We are taking the three digit value, right, after decimal. So it is 0.909. So now for the second year, you'll just press equal to sign again. So see, the another figure is also shown, that is your 0.826. Then again press the equal to button, the figures for third year. Then again press equal to button, figures for fourth year, equal to button, figures for fifth year, and stop. Stop it over here. Why? Because we need to get the calculation for only 5 years, right? भले ही कॉलम रो नंबर 6 में आपका स्क्रैप वैल्यू दिख रहा है, पर बेटा ईयर के अंदर 5th year is written, right? So the present value factor will be same, because 5th year में ही मिल रहा है ना पैसा, तो it will be same. You check over here also, it is same. We have rounded up the values. You can also round it, and we have taken the 3-digit value after the decimals. You can take it even of 4-digit, but 3-digit is also sufficing. Nothing to worry about it. Then what you do, you calculate the present value of cash inflows for each year. So you multiply 5,000 with 0.909, it will give you 4,545. You will do the same process for all the years, for all the inflows. You will multiply them and you will get the values, right? Just take a minute, calculate it, and then you will add all the present value of inflows. So you will add 4,554, 8,260, 7,510, 2,049, 1,242, and 621. Add them all, which will be around 24,227. Beta, because we are doing decimals calculation, राउंड अप में थोड़ा 19-20 हो जाए तो ऐसे लड़ने मत बैठना. इट इज ओके, नो इश्यूज, नो हार्म, राइट? 1 rupee ऊपर नीचे, इट्स ओके, नथिंग टू वरी, right? But you should know the crux and the way the calculations are done. So that's why I'm saying for you all to have similar answers, have 3-digit value after decimal and then round it up also, right? Third place should be rounded up, so that you can get the equal answers. So when you do the group studies, don't fight with 2 rupees, 3 rupees, right? So it will be okay if 19-20 ka farak is there, not to worry about it, right? So this amount, which is your sum of present values of net cash inflows, that is 24,227, is known as present value of all cash inflows, right? So you have totaled them up, so you can write total present value of cash inflows. ठीक है, ये वाला हमारा फिगर आ गया 24,227. This is the figure, total present value of all cash inflows. अब हमें क्या कैलकुलेट करना है? Present value of cash initial inflow or the outflow, which we already know. ये देखिए 20,000 आपको बता रखा है कि इनिशियल इन्वेस्टमेंट कितना था. अब आज की तारीख में इनिशियल इन्वेस्टमेंट की प्रेजेंट वैल्यू 20,000 ही होगी, राइट? सो 20,000 दोनों को माइनस कर दीजिए, आपको आपका नेट प्रेजेंट वैल्यू NPV फॉर प्रोजेक्ट X इज 4,227, right? So this is how we calculate your net present value. Step number 1, write the formula. Step number 2, prepare the chart for the calculations of net present value. Step number 3, write or calculate the present value factors. Step number 4, calculate the individual present value of net cash inflows. Step number 5, add all the present values of inflows of the years. Step number 6, subtract it or deduct it with your present value of initial cash outflow, and then you get your final answer or the final output, which is your net present value, right? So this is it. This is how we calculate the net present value. So now let us just do the calculation for project Y also, right? So for the project Y, your years are again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5. Your cash inflows are 20, 10, 5, 3, 2, and 2. Your values will be same for the PVF. Beta, now again one more point to be taken into the consideration. Many of the students, what they do, in X figures, in the calculation of X, they take the help of 4 digits, right? In calculation of Y, they take the help of 3 digits after the decimal. Don't do it. Have a consistency. Remember the accounting rules, right? And an accounting rule, one of the rules of account is to have consistency. So if you are doing in the X project also the 3 digits value, have it for the project Y also. Don't change that method, right? If you are rounding up the figures in X, round up it for the Y also. Don't ignore the Y or discriminate with Y. Let it be the same one, right? Please, because otherwise your answers will vary again, and then you will not be able to get the correct answers. Your project's calculation should be on the same ground, na beta? So for that reasons we are doing that thing. If you are using some rules for project X, just use it for project Y also. So that is why our values will be same. So the same 0 0.09, 0.826, 0.751, 0.683, 0.621, 0.621, right? So you will again multiply and get the values. So you will multiply your X inflows and your factors PVF at the rate of 10% and get the present value of net cash inflows. Then add them all together to get your net present value of cash inflows, which is 34,728. Then subtract it with the initial investment amount, that is 30,000. Your net present value NPV for project Y, it is 4,728. Now a big question, ma'am. In the starting you said that the one with the negative result should be rejected, the project with the positive result should be accepted, and you should work on it. But in this question, both the projects are yielding the positive NPV. That means in your calculation of X, your NPV is coming 4227. In project Y, your NPV is 4728. Now what to do? They both are positive. Then beta, the one with the higher amount or the more amount, when if you have such situations where both projects are positive, dono project positive hai, then what to do? The one with the higher value should be selected because it is giving you more figures, it is giving you more returns, right? So project Y will be accepted. Why? Because it is giving you more in comparison to your project X, right? So you can see the difference. And after the calculation, right, don't stop it over here that you have calculated for the project X also, you have calculated for project Y also. That's it. No, beta. You have to write a conclusion statement. That is your decision. what you have done, what final decisions you will take. You are becoming managers, that is why you are studying these all evaluation process. So as a manager, what you will do if you have two projects X and Y and the results are coming, so you have to write your decisions, and always marks are allocated in the questions for the decisions. Maybe zero point 0.5 or 1, it depends on the question, the length and the complexity, but marks are allocated to your decision statement. So always write the decisions that the net present value of project Y is higher than the net present project value of project X. Hence, it is suggested that project Y should be selected. Right? The statement is must. It carry marks. So let us just have a quick recap on NPV method with the help of those steps. Nana, I told you we have these steps for the revision. So let us just go back and have a revision of what we have done in the calculations of your NPV analysis. Step number 1. Prepare table showing the cash flows during each year of proposed investment. Step 2. Compute the present value of each cash flow using the discount rate that reflects the cost of acquiring investment capital. The discount rate are often known as the hurdle rate or the minimum desired rate of returns. You know the different names of the discount rates. Step 4, compute the net present value, which is the sum of the net presents of all cash inflows. Step 5, if your NPV is equal to or greater than 0 or it is positive, accept the project, otherwise reject the project. Right? So this is how we do our entire calculation of our NPV. So with this help of example, we have learned how to calculate NPV, how to do the comparison with the help of the NPV method in capital budgeting, right? So now let us just discuss the advantages and disadvantages of your NPV method. So the first advantage is that it takes into the account of time value of money concept. And that is why we have, discounted all the future inflows to the present value so that we can compare the. Why we are doing so? Because we should always remember that the money worth today is not equal to money worth tomorrow or in future. It will always differ, right? So how you can compare it when your timeline is not same, so that you can have a common base, so that you can have a more accurate decision making. You pull back all the money which you are going to earn in future. At the present, you just draw them up, draw back them, reduce them back, and then you get the present value, and then you calculate your NPV. The second advantage is that it helps to determine profitability of the project using cash flows rather than profits. So you see or you compare the cash flows, the cash inflow and cash outflow, rather than judging it on the profits, right? Because profit may vary better, and the definition of profit is vague. In the beginning of the sessions itself of the CFM, we have discussed that the profit term is a vague term. It differs from person to person, right? So that is why NPV is more realistic and better, because it evaluates the project on the basis of the cash flows, how much you are going to earn back and how much you are going to invest. The money inflow and outflows are taken into the consideration. So these are the two basic and main advantages of this project. Now, if we have a discussion on the disadvantages associated with this project, then the first one is that it fails to consider the timing of cash flows, right? So the timings of cash flows are not taken into the consideration. The second one, the interest may adversely change. So right now it is 10%, later on it might be 5%, 20%, 25%, but we assume it to be the 10% for entire life of the project. It might change. So this interest factor, the calculation of your present value, the factor rate might change. So that is also one of the very important disadvantage associated with the NPV method. So now let's just discuss the another method of your capital budgeting, that is your benefit cost ratio, BCR. So what is BCR? It is a ratio used in cost benefit analysis to summarize the overall relationship between the relative cost and benefit of a proposed project, right? BCR can be expressed in monetary or qualitative terms. So what you do is you compare all the benefits versus the cost, and then you calculate the ratio. If the project have a BCR greater than 1, the project is accepted to deliver a positive NPV to the firm and its investment. It also means that your NPV is also positive. है ना? अगर NPV positive है, your BCR will be more than 1. How? I'll tell you the relationship between the both. So your BCR ratio formula is, just a second. BCR is equals to present value of benefits divided by present value of cost. है ना? Now, what do you mean by the benefits? Cash inflows. So, what you are doing? Present value of all cash inflows divided by present value of initial investment or cost. Because cost means what? The initial investment which you are doing or the investing in the business. So, that is only the cost, right? So, what you are doing, there is nothing much of difference in NPV. You subtract the present value of cash inflows with the present value of cash outflows or the initial investment. But in BCR, you just divide them up. Instead of subtracting, you are dividing. So that is why this point is valid, that if your BCR is more than or greater than 1, it will definitely imply that the NPV of that method of that project will be always positive. सही बात है, right? There's no change or there's no thing which can deny this point that it's a fact, right? How it is a fact and how to calculate it, let's just have a quick discussion when we will solve it with the example, right? So this is the formula: present value of benefits divided by present value of cost. The calculation of your BCR requires three input parameters, right? What are these? Your cash flows of benefit, that means your inflow. Your cash flows of cost, that means your outflow, which is your initial investment. And then the interest or discount rate, your factor, PVF factor, right? So these are the three important things which affect your or which are required for the calculations of your BCR. And these things are both, the three things are also required for the calculations of your NPV also. Same three input parameters are required for your NPV calculations also, right? So now let us just take an example and assumes that the ABC wishes to assess profitability of a project that involves renovating a apartment building over the next year. So they have a building and they want to renovate that building, right? The company decide to lease the equipment needed for the project of $50,000 rather than purchasing it. So instead of purchasing, let us just lease the equipments of $50,000. The inflation rate is 2%, and the renovations are accepted to increase the company's annual profit by $1 lakh for next 3 years, right? So we have to calculate first what. First, let us just write what we need to calculate. So we are calculating the BCR ratio. So present value of cash inflows divided by present value of outflow. है ना जी. तो first let us just calculate the present value of cash inflow. So how to do that? You will multiply the present value index factor PVF and get the present values. So it is coming to be around, initial investment is 50,000 and benefits are coming to this amount, right? So your ratio will be 288,388 divided by 50,000, which is 5.77. So it is greater than 1, right? Because it is greater than 1, you will accept the project. So the project will be accepted because it is highly significantly, above the standard, that is above the 1. So you will accept the project. The same way the calculations of the present value is done, the way we did it in the NPV method. So that's why I've skipped this in this example. So let us just first understand the advantages and disadvantages of the benefit to cost ratio, that is your BCR, and then we will continue with the example, right? So the pros or the benefit is that this BCR translate the absolute amount of benefits and cost into a ratio, right? And it is easy to understand the ratio. It facilitates the comparison of different investments or project alternatives. The ratio helps to interpret the inherent riskiness of the forecasted net cash flows and profitability. That is, in case where the small profit margins are prone to the higher risk, while large profit margins often buffer the price adjustment. So it helps you out in adjusting the prices. It considers the value of cash flows in relation to the time of its occurrence. Cons, the disadvantages are that does not indicate the liquidity or the funds aspects of the analysis option, right? So it may require large investments. And the second one is it is subject to the various assumptions for the discount rate or the residual value. So these are the advantages and disadvantages associated with your cost benefit ratio. So you should also know the advantages and disadvantages of all the ratios, because in exams sometimes the theoretical questions also comes. So let us just continue with the discussion of BCR with the question which we have discussed in NTV, right? So we will calculate the BCR over here. What is the formula of BCR? Present value of cash inflows divided by present value of initial investment, which is equals to the present value of cash inflows. This is 24,227 divided by 20,000, which is coming to be 1.211. Right? Now let's calculate it for the project Y. So BCR is equals to PVIF divided by PVII. So it is 34728 divided by 30,000. So let us just check it on the calculator. 34728 divided by 30,000. It is 1.1576. So you can see over here that both are coming to be positive and more than 1. But the point to be taken into the consideration over here is that the BCR for your project X is higher in comparison to the BCR of project Y. So as per BCR method, you should accept X, not Y, right? So you can write it over here as per, just a second. BCR project X should be accepted because BCR of X is greater than BCR of Y, which is 1.211 is greater than 1.157, right? So this is the contradictory thing, right? As per the NPV, select Y, but as per BCR, it is suggested to go with project X, right? So I do hope that now you know how to calculate both the methods in your capital budgeting, that is your NPV and VCR. Let's just have a quick recap of all what we have learned today. We have understood the calculations of NPV. The formula for NPV is total present value of cash inflows minus net investments or total cash outflow, right? We did a question, we did the steps in which we did the calculation for project X and Y. Then we discussed the advantages and disadvantages. Then we did the BCR, in which we solved one example, looked on the advantages, disadvantages, and did the calculation for the previous example, project X and Y. And while doing so, we came up with a confusion or a dilemma that as per the NPV, you should go with Y project, but as per your BCR, you should go with project X, right? So let us just have a quick recap of what we have studied today with the help of your MCQs, right? So with the help of MCQ, let us just have a quick recap. I have a set of 10 MCQ questions and let's check how many of you get all 10 on. So your first two questions are on your screen. Question number 3 and question number 4. Question number 5 and question number 6. Question number 7 and question number 8. The last two MCQ question of this video lecture, that is question number 9 and question number 10. So now let's check the answers and evaluate ourselves that how much we have scored out of 10. So in question number 1, the correct option is option B. Question number 2, correct option is option C. Question 3, answer is D. Question 4, answer is A. Question 5, answer is D. Question 6 and 7, option is C. Question 8, the correct answer is option B. Question 9, the correct answer is option C. And in question number 10, the correct option is option A. I do hope that you all have scored good score out of 10 and understood how to calculate NPV and BCR and how to take the decisions in when you have to decide on the basis of your net present value method and benefit cost ratio method. So thank you everyone for watching this video lecture. Happy learning.